and welcome to this English news edition. The headlines of this Tuesday, November 10. The head of state takes part at the first Arab-South American summit to bring together top officials from the Arab League 22 member states and 12 countries from South America. On the international scene, Cameroon set out demands for Britain in the AU.
Welcome in our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margele, arrived this afternoon in Riyadh, the capital of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to participate in the World of Arab Latin American Summit. A warm and unofficial welcome has been received to the head of state. He has been welcomed by the King Salman ibn al-Aziz and Crown Prince His Royal Highness Mr. Mohammed bin Nayef.
The discussion of the first Arab Latin America Summit must support the partnership and the cooperative relation between the two regions in all fields, said the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. We partly agree with the state of Latin America on the importance of this principle of the international law in the context of international relations, in particular the principle of the solution to the conflict by peaceful means and the abstinence of the intervention in the internal affairs of any country, said a person member of the Arab League. The President of the Republic leads an important delegation, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohammed Ali Yusuf, the Ambassador of Djibouti to Cairo and Riyadh, as well as advisor in his presidential cabinet. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has pointed out that the head of state, Ismail Margele, has landed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for taking part of the first Arab and South America Summit. Despite the geo-physical distance, there are many common interests which are on the agenda: trade and investment. Before this summit, said the minister, there has been a forum a few days ago who brought together many enterprises, and this summit will validate these general discussions.
He said the prominent political issues also on the agenda. The Palestine issues is a major issue for Arabs country. The Aqsa Mosque is subject to an ongoing aggression. Palestinians can no longer pray in that mosque. The Arabs countries have about the Aqsa Mosque situation, which is a political discussion. The Palestinian people are undergoing the enormous and constant oppressions. As now the Arab countries are asking there must be an international protection, and an initiative has been launched by the UN General Assembly. Once this resolution being adopted at the UN General Assembly, the UN Secretary Council must validate this resolution, but we already know that there will be countries against the resolution. There will be also a huge important complaint to the Western public opinion. The head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margele, is about to take part to the 4th Arab and South American Summit, an important that will bring together the 22 top officials from the Arab League and the 12 countries from South America. The meeting, held every 3 years, began in Brazil in 2005, followed by the summit in Qatar and Peru. Let's hear for more information.
A declaration of Riyadh is currently in preparation. This 20-page document contains a dozen of enforceable decisions as well as future recommendations. It focuses broadly on the reaffirmation of an economic and political cooperation increase between two blocks away. The text focuses on the need to promote dialogue and cooperation between the Arab countries and Latin America and to develop strategic and diplomatic collaborations. The participating countries also emphasize the importance of developing socio-economic cooperation between them in initiating any development and complementary projects. They emphasize the importance of the fight against poverty in their respective states and to improve the standard of living of the populations. They have also emphasized on the importance of South-South cooperation. They reaffirm the right of countries to develop a civil nuclear and call on Israel to withdraw from territories occupied since 1967. Finally, the recommendations are focused on the judgment of the use of disproportionate force by Israel against the Gaza Strip and on the condemnation of terrorism in all its demonstrations. The text also provides a special mention for the countries of the region who continue to host the Syrian refugees, and the participating countries express their amazement at the exemplary nature of the reception given to the flow of refugees in Lebanon as that in Jordan, Egypt and Iraq. In his turn, the President of the Somali Republic, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, has left this morning the capital Djibouti en route to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia to participate in the first summit of head of state and government of the Arab countries and those of Latin America. He was greeted at his departure by the Prime Minister Abdulqadir Kamil Mohammed, and the members of the government gave him the farewell. Let us remember that the leader of the state of Somalia yesterday arrived in Djibouti for an official visit of 24 hours and has been received by the head of state Ismail Omar Agili.
The discussion between the two heads of state were focused on primarily on the good relation between Djibouti and Mogadishu, as well as on the latest development in the areas of policy and security in Somalia. The Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud was accompanied in this movement by a large delegation, including the General Director of Somali Presidency Ali Mohammed Umar, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the Secretary General of Presidency Ismail Hussein Tani have participated to this interview, which was in part of the ongoing consultation between the authorities of the two countries. During his short stay in the Republic, the Somali President has asserted that this visit comes after having received an invitation from President Gili. The two heads of state have discussed on the ways and means of further and strengthening their fraternal ties that exist between our two countries. As regards the security situation in Somalia, the Somalia government is continuing its effort to consolidate peace and security in Somalia. Let's bear in mind that the delegation led by the President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud traveled today in Saudi Arabia in order to participate in the fourth summit of the head of state and government of the Arab countries and Latin America. The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Muhammad Ali Muhammad, has received today the new Ambassador of Japan accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Tatsuo Arai. The meeting was held at the VIP lounge of the National Assembly along with the first Vice President Almi Obsi Wais and the Director of Parliament, President Cabinet, Mr. Mahdi Waberi Hassan.
Indeed, the President Muhammad Ali Muhammad, recalling the strong friendship between Djibouti and the great country friend that is Japan, has welcomed the excellence and quality of friendship and cooperation, multifaceted and multidimensional since existing long dates between our two countries. He then, through the ambassador, thanked the government of Japan for any assistance provided to our country. In response, Ambassador Tatsuo Arai, after thanking the chairman Hamad for the warm welcome, said he is very happy to work with the authorities in Djibouti for the socio-economic development of our country, while specifying the area of intervention of the Japanese cooperation in our country to know the development of socio-economic infrastructure, education and security. The discussion have also focused on capacity building of the National Assembly by the training of IT staff through the provision of a Japanese engineering, sound and audiovisual, but also the dynamic of the group of friendship inter-parliamentary Djibouti-Japan. At the end of this encounter, the two leaders exchanged gifts before the traditional family photo and the guided tour of the Japanese diplomat in the premises of the National Assembly. Another news, the Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Issa Osman, met this morning in his office all public health officials from public and parastatal structure. The purpose of this meeting was primarily to proceed with the preparation of emergency arrangement and the establishment of medical facilities in different hospitals of the country for this weather warning announced recently.
Indeed, in his response, the Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Issa Osman, also ordered the availability of a paramedic and official in the various health facilities within 48 hours in order to ready for those in need in case of a typhoon affect our countries. The management unit of the Ministry of Agriculture project aware yesterday morning hardware and fishing accessory of benefit in 3 cooperative. In the region of Obor, the compound of multiple trades, colors and other equipment. This donation has been received by the representative of the city, the Obor Fishing Cooperative of Dali and Angar, in attendance of Prefect of Obor, Mr. Hassan Abdallah, and Chairman Regional Hassan Ali Ahmed.
The granting of this fishing equipment was made within the framework of sub-building component of the fishing sector capacity in the regions of Northern Podermo project operates mainly in rural area to improve water access. The coordinator of the Podermo project, Baragorita Said Engineer, and the representative of the executive fishing officer, Ali Yusuf, have supervised the distribution of the donate fishing equipment that will strengthen the productive capacity of 3 cooperative in Obor, Daily and Indo, the region's Angar strong fisheries potential. The prefect and the president thanked the representative of the Ministry of Agriculture for this gift of fishing equipment to 3 fishing cooperatives in the region of Obor. They have welcomed many interventions about the Podermo project in the region of Obor, with the realization of hydraulic works to improve access to water for population in rural area. One of the tangible achievements probably has said the authorities of Obor are the dam Sadai, which construction work has come to an end. The disruption of fishing equipment for the benefit of Northern Fishing Cooperative come after the payment of the consideration for 10% by cooperative. This shows the goods cooperative layer, cooperative Tajora and Obor. They make good use of these materials to seniors in the region of Obor acquires considerable potential in the field of fishing. The representative of the Ministry of Agriculture said that the government is keeping developing the agriculture sector, especially in the field of fishing project. He said that there is still remaining a lot of things to improve the level of infrastructure. He added that there is great ongoing infrastructure project in the field.
As you know, the fish price has increased in Djibouti and there is a great fish market here in Obor. The problem that the interior region has encountered was the ice autonomy in this project. Finally, this project, which has been started 1 year ago, will come with a great result, said the representative of Ministry of Agriculture. The Active Youth Association of the Neighborhood 3, in collaboration with the Abed Distribution Diaspora Organization, has arranged for a distribution of school kits for the most vulnerable families, sponsored by the MP and the presidents of the Association of Active Youth Association of Neighborhood 3.
Effectively, this association has carried out a distribution of voucher in order that everyone can have an access and enjoy it. The children as well as parents have joined the association in this well and noble action to support the most in need, a gesture supported and accompanied by the diaspora of Djibouti installed abroad. The ceremony of distribution of school kits has taken place in the presence of a member of the parliament, the diaspora as well as the representative of Women Association of Neighborhood 3. They have all expressed their satisfaction of this charity action from the association and the Djiboutian diaspora as well as parliamentarians. The delegation of youth movement of the generation of concrete has visited yesterday Wahdi Dabash. It has been allowed by the chairman of the commune of Balbala, Yusuf Hassan Nuhu, the chairman of the council of neighborhood, and by the chairperson of the networks of association of neighborhood 3, Madam Maryam Musa, have not failed to thank the inhabitants of this neighborhood for this warm welcome, stressing the social economic of the head of state and his government for the establishment of the infrastructure for the development of youth of neighborhood 3.
The chairperson of the network has also recalled the strong mobilization of his neighborhood to the large market of 1st November. For his part, the chairman of the Generation the Concrete has recalled the first tour of the Generation of the Concrete. In the course of this tour, it has also benefited from this opportunity to convey the grievances and the population to the leader of state. Some 17% of its promises have been realized, according to the chairman of the Generation of the Concrete, which has pointed out that the complaints issues on this day will not be transmitted to the President of the Republic. A mega concert has been held as a closure of the National and African Youth Week on Sunday evening at the Guled Stadium.
Absolutely, this concert has brought together many people, either on the Guled Stadium, attended by thousands of music lovers or fans, and on national television or social networks. Huge number of people were following these events. This concert was attended by many national artists and regional artists. This event will remain for sure an unprecedented event in the history of the country. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Badoul Hassan Badoul, has organized in a record time many sport and cultural competition between young people. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sport was at the first rank to participate at this event in the company of several personalities. This concert is among the promotion of the Djiboutian Youth Development Policy conducted by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport in accordance with the agenda of the Head of State, Ismail Omar Guelleh, who has always accorded to the youth special attentions.
Let's pass now to the regional and international news. At least 7 people were killed and dozens injured about the Meg cyclone. Heavy winds, rain and flash flood swept through the Megs who hits the island. Let's hear with more details.
The death toll from a second rare and powerful cyclone to batter the Yemeni island of Socotra in just 2 weeks has risen to 4. 2 people are still missing and dozens have been hurt by Cyclone Meg, according to the country's fishery minister, Fad Kafayen. He said, in quote, there is also widespread destruction of residents, home and fishermen's equipments and on farms and livestock. Mr. Kafayen said in a post on his Facebook page Monday, Meg, which has caused about 5,000 people to flee their home, is expected to hit the Yemen mainland near Aden as a severe cyclonic storm about 4 p.m. on Tuesday, with sustained wind of 90 kilometers per hour to 120 kilometers per hour. The World Meteorological Organization said. The UN Humanitarian Coordination Office has said more than 230,000 people of Yemeni mainland will be exposed to high winds and heavy rainfall, with the governorate of Abyan and Al-Baidan most at risk. Cyclone Meg follows Cyclone Chapala, which killed 12 Yemenis on Socotra and the mainland, dumping nearly a decade of average annual rainfall.
Let's go now to Benin with a handwork and little elbow grease. 2 brothers are trying to make eco-friendly gesture a part of everyday life in the small West African nation of Berlin. Let's see with more details.
Frank and Francis have made a name for themselves in Cotonou thanks to their work with Zakoza, a pioneer group dedicated to coming up with new innovations to help protect the environment. The group focuses in particular on fighting back against the rampant deforestation that has stripped Benin bare and left only 30% of the land covered with trees. The 2 brothers don't shy away from getting their hand dirty, as well as coming up with new inventions themselves. They travel the length and breadth of Benin, showing their fellow compatriots how to consume less. Their flagship product is an eco-friendly multifunction oven that can be used not only at home but also at work on an industrial scale. They've named the project Antigan, a word that means the tree is saved in Fon, a dialect widely spoken in Benin.
Nigeria has found oil in the Lake Chad. This will improve the development of the country by stimulating the economy. Let's listen to this comment.
Nigeria is on the verge of a significant oil find in the Lake Chad area of the northeast. The NNPC Managing Director, Ibe Kachikwu, was quoted as saying in a statement issued by the state oil company on Thursday, Africa's biggest economy has been hammered by the sharp drop of global oil price because it relies on a crude export for around 70% of government revenue. There are signs of the latest 3D systemic studies that oil may be very close to being found now in the Lake Chad. Kachikwu was quoted as saying in a statement issued by the NNPC spokesman Alegbe, I'm very optimistic that by the end of the year we should be able to announce something major on this, he said in a presentation in Lagos according to the statement. Kachikwu stated the NNPC is projecting the inflow of $20 billion in 2016 to enable the corporation to fund major projects.
It was on Top Stories. UK Prime Minister David Cameron has formally launched efforts to reform the European Union so that Britain can remain within the bloc. Said Mohammed has more.
UK Prime Minister David Cameron has formally launched effort to reform the European Union so that Britain can remain within the bloc. The European Union needs to change, he said in a speech in London, laying out demands so that he also put in a letter to European Council President Donald Tusk. The four key objectives are guarantees of fairness for non-Eurozone members, greater competitiveness, exemption from the principle of ever-closing union, and tackling freedom of movement abuses. The EU needs flexibility to accommodate both those inside and outside the Eurozone, both those who are contemplating much closer economic and political integration and those countries like Britain which will never embrace that goal, Cameron said. He went on saying in quote, "We need to be honest about this. The commitment in the treaty of an ever closer union is not a commitment that should apply any longer to Britain. We don't believe in it. We do not subscribe to it. We have a different vision for Europe." Other European leaders have already voiced their concern about a possible Brexit.
3 days after a massive mudflow and flood caused by raptor dams at the iron ore mine, Brazilian authorities are still struggling to determine a cause or even recover the bodies of as many 28 people possibly swept away in the torrent. For more information, let's listen.
One of Brazil's worst mining disaster in recent memory has left 25 people missing. Mud and wastewater from the burst dams at a Brazil iron ore mine swept down a valley, devastating a nearby village. Exhausted firefighters waded through waist-deep mud as thick as wet concrete among the tangled remains of Bento Rodrigues village where 600 people lived. The disaster has also raised health and environment concern as cities more than 300 kilometers downstream were forced to cut off drinking water. State health officials are checking the toxicity of the water and warn residents who came in contact with the mud to throw out their clothing. Biologists warn that the environment impact from the mining wastewater may be permanent, devastating local fishery and farms.
And finally, to end up this edition, Indonesian anti-drug agency chief is reportedly planning to build a prison on a remote island which will be guarded by crocodiles. He claims the snapping reptiles can be bright, unlike human warders, and definitely won't let inmates escape. We will place as many crocodiles as we can there. I will search for the most ferocious type of crocodile, National Narcotics Agency Chief Burudi Wasiso said, as stated at Indonesian news. Wasiso is eager to build a special prison for drug dealers on a remote island and was trying to come up with a way to prevent drug offenders from controlling the narcotic deals from behind bars. And that's it for tonight's news. Thank you for your attention, and more headlines coming up tomorrow at the same time.